All right. Where we at? Where we at? All right, guys, here we go. All right, so today, what do I want to do? Oh, I want to get some. I kind of forgot what I was going to do this today. I wanted to generate some more. Texture painting and shooting some more assets on this plane. I kind of thought about something earlier too. I thought um, I've been shift duplicating these. I should have been alt duplicating them. So I did what, 4 of them. I shift duplicate. I should alt duplicate them because it will probably save a little bit on that whole processing and all that. These meshes are pretty dense. All right, I want to bring another asset in, and I want to texture displace. I want to do some texture painting. So let's go and ground cover. Actually, it really doesn't matter. Let's just grab this one here. Alt duplicate. I'm gonna see if I do alt duplicate, and then call this one grass scat. Now, technically, this one, right, it shouldn't mess with the other one. If I, for example, make a copy of this, right, copy this, call it grass, scat. Now, ground cover scat, rock scat, tree, oh, it did change it. Tree scat, grass scat, okay, it did change it, so let me undo all of that. So I do need to keep shift duplicating them. Okay, I do need to shift duplicate. All right, no problem. Shift duplicate. Call this one grass scat. And we're going to do texture painting this time. We're not going to use the image maps. Grass scat. Let me copy all of that. Copy that. All right, grass scat. Then we'll come here, make a new copy. Paste that grass scat. Then we'll come tree scat to grass scat. Grass scat. And for now, let's do a little housekeeping. These guys here, we can just kill that because I'm going to add some new ones in there. Then we need to go do our data. And then we're going to go grass scat. And scare. Right, good. Let's isolate this grass scat. And from here, let me get a material or asset that I want to scatter. Let's go back to assets, scat asset stuff, just so I can get in that same. Oh, just undo that right there. And let's find an asset to scatter there. I've got some assets here. Where's our other one? Grass. Octane grass. Here we go. Yeah. I guess we'll try Okay, so what we're going to do is go back to grass scat. Grass scat, and let's go ahead and grab some of these. I'm going to grab, first of all, this small grass, and then maybe this bushy grass. Alright, cool. Now let's isolate those like this. Alright, texture painting, so we need to set that up. How do I do that? Hang on, texture painting. I think we just need to set up a, can I do it on the same material here? No, I can't do it on the same material. Okay, so for now, we got grass scat. I'm gonna turn this off. How do I do that? Because I need to make a vertex texture paint map. Okay, so let me think about this. For now, let me just take this off, add a new material. Let's make the texture paint first. Delete that. We can just bring in, matter of fact, we can delete all of that. Come over here to my presets and bring in a diffuse material. There we go. And then we'll bring in an RGB image and plug that into there. Now we probably won't see anything because this is set up in the data set for yeah, you won't see nothing because this set up here in the data set as a scattering system. So we need to turn that off for a minute. Yeah, okay. So let's turn that off. Turn that off. All right. Let me turn this back off, turn this back on. And it's gray. So I want to come here. I want to go new. I'm going to call this grass paint. All right. I'm actually make it 2K. I don't think it really matters because it's just going to be vertex. So let's just leave it at 1K. Black, whatever. Let's just go new image. Use for viewport paint, yes. Okay. Vertex paint or just texture painting? Oh, I don't know. We'll call it texture painting. Now, let's come in here. And why are we seeing this like this? This is interesting. Let's change this to, I guess, texture paint. There it is. That's working. So I know that's working. We can just change this to white. Saturation out. And the opposite will be black. All right. But this doesn't look white. Why does it look like this? All right. So I already realized I'm not doing a texture paint will be completely. Oh, you know why we're seeing this? Because of my compositing setup. Let me come back to compositing. We're viewing out this ALV output. That's viewing out. We don't want that. I want to view back to just my denoise beauty. That's why we're seeing that. All right, now we should be okay to see. Let's jump back. Yep, there we go. Okay, cool. Now I should be able to paint. Right, there's our, now we're painting. Okay. Matter of fact, can I turn the render? I can turn that off there. We can just paint like that. That's great. That works nice. Now my next question is it easier to do a vertex paint or just a texture map paint? Hang on, let me undo that. Let's actually like kind of paint something for real here for a minute. I'm gonna come up here and just kind of like, I want this to be a lot of grass here. Hold down F, press F, you can. All right. All right, so we've got this little mask here. Let's test this out. And of course, anytime you're doing texture painting in Octane or in Blender, you need to make sure you save. We see we've got that little asterisk there, so we are not saved. Where do we go to save? View. Where do I save this at, guys? I totally forgot. Texture painting. Oh, you know, I know where we gotta save. We have to go to where's it at? We have to go to texture paint imager or UV texture painter node editor. Let's go there. No? UV editor? Image editor? Grass? grass paint. There it is, grass paint. Okay, here it is, grass paint, and save. That's gonna save it there. Grass paint, yes, PNG. Okay, good, save. All right, cool. Now let's change this back to, that's fine for now. All right, now, and this is grass paint mask. Mask, whatever. Okay, now let's go ahead and hook back up our scattering system. So we'll call this, go back to grass scat. There it is, grass scat. There it is, it turns purple, which is okay. Then let's go to the data set, turn that back on, grass scat. There it is, we select that. And let's fire up the render. And then once we get this plugged into the distribution or to a curling map, I think we should start seeing something. Let's turn this back to object menu. Okay, so it's doing some stuff in the background. I realized it was easier to do the vertex mask. The vertex mask, well, I don't know, but I just have to go to the data set instead of doing this. Why it's doing that, let's see our settings here. Let's go ahead and kill all of this. We don't need this whole setup, right? But I do want to keep this one node here. Hang on, guys. All right, so, well, we're not seeing nothing here. Let's turn that off one more time, turn that back on. Oh yeah, we shouldn't see anything because this is back to its transparent state when you do a scattering system. And we have some grass on here, which is probably super tiny. Scale max 1. Let's just reset these values here to 1, 1. And what's our density? 100. Let's go to like 1,000. We're not seeing anything. Make sure we got this right. Grass scat, surface scatter on surface. Yep, that is right. That is visible. Grass scat onto grass scat. That is correct. I've got the stuff I want to scatter. Let's load in that mask, grass paint. There it is. And on grass paint, let's plug this into curling map. And I'm still not seeing anything. Okay, so when in doubt, I just like to just do this. Let's go ahead and just kill all of that. Just plug up the 1. Change this, go back to my cube. We still have the cube in the scene? Yes, we do. Let's jump out. Yeah, it's taking so long now. That's the only thing I gotta figure out about optimization, which I didn't think about in the beginning, which I kind of should have thought about as I was building this so I can. All right, there's what we got going so far. Here are the grasses that I brought in. This one is not broken, but I need to fix that one. So that's probably one reason we want to see that one. This one is broken too. Why is that? And these were older. Transparency here. Let's just unhook that for a moment. Let me isolate this grass and see what's wrong with it. 2.2. Well, all of these are all wrong. That should be set to 1. That should be set to 1. This should be set to 1. GGX energy preserve. All right, that looks right. So the material's right. Let's jump out. So that's right. I need to start muting some of the. I don't need to see all of this stuff. That's gonna probably help me with my load time. But right now I'm not gonna do it while it's loading, because then when you do this is when you start building, stacking stuff on top, and then that's when it crashes. Or so just let it go through the process, and I just need to, like, I don't need to see everything right now because I'm trying to build grass. Like, we don't need to see the water, we don't need to see the trees and all of that stuff. Transferring terrain mesh to, well, I gotta figure out what's going on here. Loading meshes to render server. Transferring terrain to mesh. I know the terrain is very high density. I should have decimated that when I first brought it over. That would have saved a lot of the help. And that's one thing when you use the World Bridge add-on, it automatically does that. It puts like a decimate on it. It puts on a subsurface modifier, and then it has the viewport set to 1, but the render output set to 4. So like, I might start using that next time on the next one, and then all I need to do is just strip off all the cycle stuff that they put on there, and then kind of do what I'm doing here, go back to my rebuild, but using that optimized mesh, because yeah, this is now becoming to the point where I don't want to work on it because I'm waiting. Like I'm waiting for this to load, and like it's pointless. Like, but hey, I learned. I learned. I learned. I learned. Yeah, see, like I can't work like this. I don't want to work like this. So, all right, first of all, let's start killing some of this stuff. We don't need to see any of this ground cover. We need to see grass. We're working on grass. Let's keep grass. We're working on that. Water, we don't need to see that. Turn the water off. All right, that right there should help us. Let me go ahead and save. And technically on these, you know what? Technically on these scattering systems, because they're trying, we probably don't need to have them high density mesh, right? I'm thinking about that now. Like, let's go to grass. I'm gonna put a decimate modifier on here. First of all, let's look at what we're working with. Look at that, right? Crazy dense, right? We don't need all this, especially for a thing that we're just scattering onto. Decimate 0.5. 0.2. Yeah. Yeah, I'll take that. That's better than what I'm working with now, like crazy amounts. I'll take that for now. Let's just leave it on just in case. And right? Okay. Yeah, we don't need high density mesh for scattering now. We just need the geometry, the shape. That's all I really need is that shape. Okay. Good. Now, let's go back to and see why we can't see our scattering. Hopefully this should improve our viewport performance. Yep, it's already improving. Yep. Okay, now we're back in the game. All right, there's the cubes, so I know it's still working. There is our cubes. Again, I use the cubes just for test. Right? But it does not look like it's using the map that we use. Oh, this is inverted. Let me uninvert that. Okay, yeah, that's working. That's working. That was just the areas that we painted. Right? Yep, those are the areas that I painted. That's working nicely. That's what I want to see. Okay, cool. Now, while we're at it, let's crank these numbers up just while we can. Let's crank, where's that numbers at here? Let's go, give me 20,000. All right, boom. That's cool. Now let's get this geometry. Let's get our scatter stuff on here that we wanted to do. And those are these little grasses over here. Oops. Like these little, like this little tiny patch grass here. Oops. Let's go back here. Click on our grass scat. And then come in here, grab that. Yeah. Boop. Let's see what that's happening. Is that happening? I don't see it. I don't see it. Okay, so since I don't see it, let's just make it huge, first of all, so I can see it. I see it. There it is. Nice. Okay. Now we're in the game, guys. Let's bring this down to 1. Right? And we can do a point 5 on that on the very. All right, cool. Now let's add in that second grass. I wanted to add in a little bit more fuzzier grass, which we'll say this one. Let's bring that one into slot 2. And the only thing is when you start putting all these like together like this, they take. Hang on. Can I transfer? Octane transfer. All right, I'll worry about that later. I feel like I can manipulate the size so I can have individual control other than Well, I mean, I can. I just go and scale that one asset instead of, because this is a master control. So whatever's all in here, this is controlling everything, right? So again, if we go to 1, we're scaling up both grasses. Right? So let's say we go something like that. Now, if I come back to that other grass, now if I grab this grass, I use this grass, right? Now I wonder if I just scale this grass. Hang on, let me move it right here so I can see. Well, I know it should work. If I just scale, we just scale this one grass, tab into edit mode, select all, hit S. Yeah, okay, yeah, I figured that, right? So technically I could just do it that way. Okay, and let's go back to that other grass, tab out of that. Yeah, let's go back to this grass here. Same thing, we tab into that, we press Alt, select it, and then if I scale that up, if I scale that up, scale, yeah, I can see it scaling up. Okay, so that's another cheap way we can do that. Now, why does it look so spotty? I want it to cover more. So tab out of that. Does that mean I need to go to give it more? Where did I end up on the scale? Here's my scale. I think it felt better when it was bigger, huh? Where's Dennis at for our reference? Dennis is here. Yeah, that actually doesn't feel too bad. What's this curling minimum? What's that do? Curling max, curling min, curling angle high. Instant front, instance up. No, we want this instance front. Object selection mode, random. Let's go instance. Let's go ×2. Let's go crazy. All right, I think that's way too much. But I also feel now that it's so thick and luscious like that, I probably could bring the size down a little bit, huh? No, the size makes it spotty, so I just think it's too much and too big, honestly. Let's go back to divide that by half. All right. That's good to know. I learned something right there. I'm actually going to put this back to 1. And then I'm actually going to add in another one. Come here, shift duplicate this down. And on this one, I'm going to add in Control Alt B, clear that. I'm going to add in this brown dead one because this is going to match the ground way more better right here. But something's broken with it, and it's probably this. Let's set that back to default. Yeah, something's going on here. Kill that for now. Albedo here, roughness. How many materials does this have on? Oh, it has a whole bunch, so that might not be the only one that's broken. Set that back to default. Should kill that. Transmission ones are probably something. Let's see. Transmission ones, guys, makes it transparent. But I think that this might just be missing its map. Glossiness. Well, that's wrong. These are plugged into the wrong thing. Glossiness. This shouldn't be glossiness. This should be albedo. All right. Roughness. Glossiness, glossiness, glossiness. Normal. Transparency, albedo. Oh, that was for the flower. All right. Stem. Here's the stem. Albedo. Stem albedo. Glossiness is into the roughness. Okay. Normal. That's right. Looks like it's the leaves that are having issues here. Let's isolate this so I can see it better. There we go. There's the stem. Turn off all that junk. There's the stem. All right, now around the leaf. Leaf albedo. Correct. Roughness. Correct. Normal. Correct. Transparency. Leaf. That shouldn't be a color. See, start giving it too many commands while it's thinking you. And that's when it's like, yo, stop. I'm like, all right, sorry. First of all, I just want to see the image. We're not getting any albedo data right now. How about the transparent right now? Here's the other leaf part. Another leaf part. Albedo. Oh, you know what? Damn it. I keep forgetting this. Damn it, dude. This bugs me. See this? Check this out, guys. Let me go full screen so I can show you this. See this? That means it's not showing. It doesn't know what render engine to use. So just go to all. And now we should see that. I keep forgetting about it. And that's just because that was the only reason. There it is. The only reason that happens is because these were, when I brought these assets in, I was using an older version of Octane, like 2024 version, or maybe even older than that. And whatever updates they make, for some reason, it makes this material node go wonky, and it basically doesn't know what engine it's using. Because now I'm using here, right here, 2025. So that's why you could probably switch here, but just check that. That's it right there. It's an easy fix. Again, I was pulling all these nodes out of here and all that jibba jabba, and check it out. There it is. Change this to all. There used to be one that said Octane in there, but not anymore. So we'll just change it to all, and it's like, it's kind of smart. It knows what it is. Come back here, same thing. Look at that. Change it to all. And let's go to the flower. The flower is already set to all, and that's why we saw that. All right. There it is. Easy fix. All right, cool. Let's unisolate that. All right, so there's our dead grass, and the other grass is working too, and the other grass is broken. Nope, that other grass works. All right, so let's go back to our plane, our rock scatter, and let's add that in there. Click on that, click on that. Let's add that into geometry out, into scatter object. Yeah, there you go. But I definitely want those to be way smaller. So I'm just going to do what I did earlier. Just grab that, G it over here so we can see while we work. All right, tab into that, press A, select all. I'm just going to scale that down. Something like that. Cool. It looked better once I had it like way more denser. I don't know if I like that spottiness like that. Like, that just looks so whack. Ah, it looks so whack. Cube, we can go away now. Thanks, Cube. Boop. It looks so whack. Okay, well I guess let's just go hard on the number. Let's go back to double that times 2. I'm minus it, and I'm not seeing it with the bushes and all that other stuff. I gotta remember that. All right, cool. Now, if I want to go back and work on our painting mask, what's the easiest way to do that? All right, check it out. Let's experiment here. And now, since we did the painting mask, I know that works, okay? So now, if I wanted to do, I'm gonna go back and see if I can do the vertex like I wanted to do a vertex scatter. So if I want to do a vertex scatter, I should come over here, right? Vertex. Where the hell did I go for vertex? Color attribute? UV map? Oh, vertex group. Make a new group. And it's thinking. Okay. Make a new group. Still thinking. I don't know. I think it probably was easier to do what we were doing before. I should have just turned off the render while I was doing this. That was my main problem. I better stop the render while we do this. Okay. There we go. Now, vertex, if I want to do a vertex paint, again, I come in here and I go to vertex paint, right? All right, let's go to top view. Okay, and then like we've got our brush, right? So if I come in here and go boop, 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 I don't see anything. Why? Why don't we see anything? Am I doing it wrong? Vertex paint. Do I need to be like in edit mode or something? How come I don't know how to vertex paint? Is it done thinking? Oh, it's done thinking. Edit mode, vertex paint. It should like change colors though when I go to vertex paint mode, right? Or should I use weight paint? I totally don't know. Should I use weight paint? Vertex paint. What about weight paint? I think I need to watch the CG Boost video about weight paint and vertex paint. Either or, I'm not seeing anything. I'm not seeing anything. Go back to object mode. Hang on, guys. CG boost. Weight. Weight paint. I'll paint your world. Paint the power of vertex groups.
You always wondered why that app didn't exist. Now you can make it. Meet Replit.
The vertex group.
Let's call the first one body, then hit tab, the second arms, and then tab legs and enter to confirm. Now to add vertices to a specific vertex group, make sure the right vertex group is selected. In this case, let's start with the body, and then you can see these red lines here. That means I already created seams for the texturing process, which we now can use for limiting the selection. Let's press L above the body. Now it will select everything, but if we open up this panel down here, we can set the delimit method, in this case to seam, to use the seams to limit our selection. Now only the body is selected, as you can see, however not...
He's in edit mode. He's in edit mode. He's in edit mode. I'm in edit mode, but I'm not seeing what I should be seeing. Okay, I think because we have the system on here, because we have Octane scatters on here, it's not gonna play like that. So again, let me just turn off the scattering system. This decimate, I'm gonna apply it, dude. So far, it looks like we have no problems. Let's just apply it. So we can get some workflow speed back. I probably can even decimate it even more. That's all right. I just want to finish this one render, and the next, I'm gonna get on to the next one, and I'm gonna do a more efficient workflow. I know for sure. Okay, now if we go into edit mode. Oh, and I'm not seeing nothing because I turned overlays off. All right, there's our edit mode. Now if we come into vertex paint, I'm not seeing anything still. Radius, let's go bigger. Strength 100. Right? Not seeing nothing. Weight paint. Oh! Okay, there we go. There we go. Weight paint, that's working. How do we clear that? I go 0 weight, right? Okay, cool. All right, nice. It's just hard to see the terrain. So I think it'd be better to just work in small sections. Okay, so now, like, we can probably have a more better time. And let's go like 100 in some areas, right? Let's kind of just play for a second here. I really can't see where the hell I'm at as far as geometry or terrain wise. All right. Now I need to save this, right? Assign. A weight paint. We're doing weight paint. Do I need to assign this? Okay. I don't know. We'll just assign it. Let's go back to Mr. Boost. Weight, vertex weights, balance, weight painting mode. Let's do that really quick here.
In between. Now, if you ask me, selecting individual vertices, picking a specific, just go to the right side until this little double arrow appears, left click it, weight, and if it's lower, it will increase the weight when we are painting. Value which I set up over clearly defined it up here, the weight should be relatively low. We can smear the weight into different directions, and what I find really for this specific vertex group. And now if I go back to the thickness vertex group, you can see that it shows the specific vertex weight inside this group. So these are the basics of the vertex groups and the weight paint mode, and now let's have a look at a couple of more examples. As a very basic example on how to use vertex groups to limit the effect of certain wind and like just flies away, we have the pin vertex. One of the most important use cases for vertex groups is in the rigging process when binding.
All right. So how do I use that vertex weight, guys? Let me think. So we made the weight paint mode, like we made the weight paint mode. I think I need to use I think there is a node that I can use. I've done it before with black and white values of vertex displacement. No, that's displacement, projections, materials. Attribute. Color vertex attribute. Boom, shakalaka. And then we should double click on this, hit copy, because it's text sensitive, paste that. And for now, let's just see. Let me go back and turn on our scattering system. Come back in here, select grass scat, boom. Let's jump out of that edit mode so we can see properly. Let's jump out of weight paint mode, go back to object mode. The scat system is hooked back up. And now let's quickly jump into render view so we can see. So we're using this mask right now. So if I replace this, theoretically what should happen is I should be able to replace the mask, the grayscale mask that we made, and replace it with the color vertex, because they also both have the same green input. So they both accept the same data. Okay, there we go. So this should also work here because it's the same color. So if we take that and plug that into there. Okay, yeah, but that's like everywhere. That doesn't seem like it's isolating to the areas that we worked on. And again, for the sake of viewing, while we troubleshoot, I'm going to kill all of those. Oops, not do that. I'm going to hold down Control, kill all of those, and put this back into number 1, and change this back to our cube. And now you see why I use the cube all the time for troubleshooting, because it's just helpful. Cube, and I'm not seeing the cube, or is it just super small? GOL, GOL. How come we're not seeing the cube? Let's reset. Now we're not seeing the cube. But we're seeing the grass. Huh. Let me pull this out of there. That's everywhere. It doesn't seem like I think we assigned. Oh, hang on. Attributes. Hang on, color attributes. There's some type of settings. I remember this when I was doing another tutorial. There's some type of setting I have to change over here. I have to come over here. Oh man, what was that? Oh, is it color attribute? I think it was color attribute. Was it color attribute? Convert color attribute. Vertex color convert. Convert color attribute color. Color vertex attribute. Oh, hang on, it's loading. Yeah, there was some type of switch that I had to flip for it to, because it's like reading Blender and then you have to do updating object. Then you had to, I think we had to change those settings so it can switch to like Octane. Okay, no, that didn't work. Color attributes. Color vertex group. Group. Domain. Color attribute. Let's go back here. Convert. Let's wait for that. I'm just going to try each option. Well, I probably should have checked to make sure that that vertex is actually assigned, and if it's not, I know we painted it. Yeah, let me quickly. Hang on, there is another attribute node I think we have also. Grayscale. Grayscale vertex attribute. Here's this. Space group in there. Okay. And then let's come back here, back to our attribute, vertex attribute. What if I make a new one? Let's go in here, color. I want, what domain? I want vertex. Data type, color. Let's go back to this one first. Let's turn this one on. I think it's important that I figure this out because that's going to be very powerful to be able to have just to use the vertex paint. It gives you, you know, based off of that, how it does the density and stuff like that. All right, let me quickly make sure that we actually got the paint right. And let me also jump out here. Can we not see vertex paint if we go in here? Do I have to unconnect that? We did weight paint. This weight paint showing everything red. Okay, so that's already not right. This is showing everything red. And that's probably what we were seeing. Everything was. I'll just do this for now. Quick little test. All right, boom. All right, that's the weight paint we want, right? And I want it on, I'm assuming that we're painting to this. I just don't see any like a sign or whatever. Let's just sign that, I guess. Okay, tab out. Oop. Edit mode, tab out. No, we're still not. See? Object mode. Let's go back to weight paint. Okay, that's painted. Object mode. Let's go back and turn this on. Okay, that's not, I didn't change anything, but hang on, let's make sure that these are right. Let me flip it over here to the other one, attribute. You know what I should have did to save for this waiting time? I'm just gonna do this. Just gonna go to, hang on, let it update really quick. Let's see what this does. No, okay, that's not doing anything. Let me save something really fast. So let's save it. And this is something I started doing recently. When I'm troubleshooting something, instead of fighting with the scene right now, let me just break it down to raw simpleness. Break it down to its most simple form. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to add this plane. I'm going to subdivide this plane by like 100, well, not 1,000, 100, right? Subdivide this plane. Okay, we got a plane. I want to do a vertex paint on it. Okay, oh, let's go back here. So come in here, vertex paint or weight paint, right? Boom, there it is. We're going to paint, and we painted. Boom, we're done, right? Let's jump out because that's what we wanted to do in the other one. Now, I'm going to just bring in a texture here, and let's just come in here and bring in a vertex color vertex attribute. And oops, I don't think we attributes. I don't know. Let's figure it. Yeah, I need to put a name in there, right? So I don't think I saved it. Okay, so let me come back to weight paint. Color attribute. I don't know, do I do it here? Color attribute, vertex. Okay. Let's just do add. Right, does that make it set? Grab this name, color, put that in here, paste. All right, and then let's just come in here and go, also give me a color map. Let's go ahead and put that into there. Just give me like a green. All right, let's turn on the render. Okay, there it is. And let's just give me another color there. Oh, that's plugged into the transmission. Okay, so there we got that and that and that. Now if I plug this into there, it's all blue. That's not doing anything. So now let's come back over here and convert. Let's just do one at a time. Let's just do face corners, convert. Nope, doesn't work. Go back to here. Let's go back to vertex, back to where we were. Let's come over here, color invert. Let's go to this one here. Didn't do anything. Let's come back here, convert. Let's take them both over here. Convert. We're getting this 50-50 mix. Okay. Delete that. Make a new one. Color vertex. Add. Come in here. Weight paint. It's still there. There's the weight paint that we did. Blue, 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 right? Weight paint. But it says color vertex attributes. Let me go to vertex paint. All right, let's go to vertex paint. All right. And then let's do the old back to normal, right? Unplug that. Oh, that worked. Okay, that worked. Color vertex. And let me redo that one more time. Let me delete this. What will happen? That didn't do anything. Let me delete this. That did something. Let's bring this back. Color. It's set to vertex and it's set to color data. Add. All right, and then let's come back here to vertex paint. And then let's paint something. Okay, and then let's go back to object mode. And now it's still there. Okay, and let me quickly do something else. One more thing here. Let's take this. I mean, that should be it, but I just want to test something. Let's do a mix material. Drop that into here. Let's go. This is the first material. This is the second material. Let's take this and let's make it a metallic. And let's make it super glossy like that. All right, and let's make it GGX because I like it. And then let's take this and make this like a blue. All right, and then we take this and we go blink. Okay, that's working. That's vertex painting. That worked. Color attribute, vertex painting, that worked. Now, if I come over here and change these both to this, that didn't work. That's broken. Right? If I come back over here and go this to color, that didn't work. All right, let's go back this to vertex and let's go opposite. That worked. So, domain vertex. BYT color seems like it needs to be in, well, no, this is still working too. So it looks like this BYT, okay, that's worked. Now, my next question is, that's a color vertex attribute, right? Right. Now, let's go back and let's kill this for a minute, delete that. I want to go back and do weight paint. Here's our weight paint. The weight paint seems like we haven't got the weight paint to work. Weight paint. Let's delete this. Come in here, make a new one. I'm going to put color 2 so I can just get it different. And I'm already going to set this one to BTY color because we know that that was working. Okay. Now, I want to come in here and add a vertex. Color vertex attribute. Boom. Copy this name, color. Paste this. Plug this into the amount. Let's change this back. And now we don't see anything working, right? Nothing's working. Let's come back and convert. Maybe this needs to be to here. No, that's not working. Okay. Let's put this back and let's put this back. Convert. No, that's not working. Okay, so I'm not seeing anything with the weight paint. Edit mode, weight paint. Okay. Edit mode, there's weight paint. Come back out. Let's try a different note. Let's try a grayscale. Grayscale vertex attribute. Let's plug that in. Let's maybe, actually, hang on, let's give that the name group. I probably should have did that with the color one first. Up, there it is. Boom. Okay, that worked. So let me go back to the color one. Color. Sorry, I can't spell right now because I'm like thinking about two different things at the same time. Color. Oh, we'll just go back to, there it is, color vertex attribute. Plug that in. Paste, group. Now I don't see it. Now I don't see it. Let's come back here. These are set to here. Maybe let's go set that to there. Nope, that didn't work. Okay, let's set this both to there. Nope, that didn't work. Let's set, what else can we set? That's it. That's the only combinations. Convert. All right, so that didn't work for the vertex. So that tells me we need a grayscale. We need a grayscale vertex attribute. Plug that in. Give that the name group. That works. That works with it in color mode. If I go both mode, it still works. So it seems like it works in either way here. Okay. So we need a grayscale. Does that. Okay, one last thing that I want to try here while we're at it. Let's see if I add a, okay, think. Okay, let me do this. One more test. Let's kill this. Let's add a new one. Add a material. We're going to call it scat. And what we're going to do is scatter on here. Let's get what we want to scatter. We're just going to get a cube. Scale it down. Apply the scale. Boom. I'm going to bring it over here to the side. I'm going to give it some color. I'm not going to give, I'm going to give it some color. We can do that. It's not a big deal. That's what we're scattering. Okay, that's going to be our scattering material. Let's go back to our plane. We're going to add a scatter material to it. Make sure we're on the plane. I'm on the cube still. There's the plane. We delete this because we don't need that. We're going to come in here and go scatter on surface. We're going to plug that into displacement. Once we plug that into displacement, we bring out the surface. What is the surface? This is the surface. I changed this to Octane. I don't know why, but I just do because it says Octane and I'm using Octane. Same here. I changed this to Octane. What do you want to scatter? I want to scatter this cube, right? And then we need to turn the system on. Come over here, data. Look for the scat. Where is it at? There it is. There's the scat, and it should show up. Surface scatter on surface. And then the default settings are kind of wonky, so we turned this to random instances on a relative area, and we're only showing one. And like I'm not seeing anything. Sometimes that means turn off the render and turn it back on. And we're still not seeing anything because it didn't still the surface. When I switched it to Octane, it deleted it. Let's click back on the plane. The hell with it. Just select the plane. Plane. There it is. Now we're seeing it like crazy. Our cube. We can come down to scale max and just bring that down. All right, there's our cube. And let's just, while we're at it, we can do max rotation. We can just do some randomization here. Or why is that doing it? Fix random uncoupled, I think. Yeah, that randomizes it. All right, so we got a bunch of randomized cubes here. Okay, now let's come in here and I say, hey, I want a lot of cubes. Give me a lot of cubes. Give me like 200, right? We got a lot of cubes. The hell with it. Give me 1,000. And what I want to do is I want to use my weight paint to do the curling map. All right, so let's bring in a grayscale vertex attribute. Bring that in, put the name in group, plug that into curl, and something happened, but nothing big happened. Hang on, let's do this. Let me come back. Can I go back to weight paint? Oh, that should be different, definitely. Hang on, I don't think that's working. Let's go wide, right? And let's do something like this, and let's flip this, and let's go like, okay. Let's jump out. Let's go back to object mode. And that doesn't seem like that's doing anything. Let me turn on this so I can see, oh, not that. Let's turn on this so I can see the data, what the render's doing. Grayscale currently map, right? Do I have it plugged in the right place? Relative density map? Let me make sure. Random instances by relatively dense. I really need to break this down and figure out what the heck all these things mean. Distribution on particles. One per particle. Disable. Nope. Object selection mode. That's object selection. We just have one object. Alright, well, let's come back here. So it doesn't seem like we're getting the same effect that we had. Let's play with these again. Let's change them both. Nope, didn't do anything. Let's come back here. Let's change this one, leave this one. Nope, that didn't do anything. Let's change them both back. Let me add in a, let's add in a invert node. Texture invert. Nope, that didn't do anything. Position density map. Currently map. Rotation. Scale. It's already 12:30. I can't go. I have to go to work early today, guys, so I can't do no 3-hour stream like yesterday. Like I see it move a little bit, but maybe let's lower the countdown. Hang on. Let's just go to 100. Right? Let's go to object selection. Now that shouldn't matter because we're not selecting anything. I wonder if the cube is so big that we're not really seeing the. Let me get something super tiny like that. That's still not making the same shape that we made. Weight paint there. That's what we did there. Like you would think we would see all the particles being generated right there. I know you can do this. It's just I gotta figure out what the setting is. So to think about, I mean, is it just easier to just make a black and white mask? I think it might be easier. Let's bring in the color vertex set. Color vertex. When in doubt, ask Mr. GPT. Oh, sorry guys, I had that thing on there the whole time. I didn't mean to have that on there the whole time. Can I use a vertex weight paint to scatter things in the curl map on Octane scattering system in Blender? Oh yeah, leave at 130. Yes, you can drive Octane scattering distribution with vertex paint data in Blender, but not directly with the curling map. Oh, the way material noise works. Octane scatter uses density color maps for distribution, and vertex groups and vertex colors must be converted into a usable format first. So, what Octane scatter can use relatively dense density maps, any texture map coordinated with instances appearing on the surface, vertex groups, vertex colors, Viva Octane's float vertex or color vertex node, which reads Blender's vertex data and Octane shaders. Yeah. What doesn't work directly, Octane scattering doesn't read a curl noise shader with the way the material world. Okay, so you can't just take a noise pattern, a noise. Okay, I got that. All right, practical workflow. Paint a vertex group or vertex group color in Blender's weight paint mode or vertex paint. Paint your mesh. Okay. Bring vertex data into Octane. In the shader editor, add a vertex texture for the weight maps, or a color vertex texture for the colors. So basically the black and white is the float vertex, the color is the color. Type the name of your Blender vertex group or color layer into the node. Convert it to usable density texture. To drive scatter density, feed the float or color vertex texture into the regular Octane texture network and output it into an image texture. Oh, hang on. A big texture node? Really? No, that didn't work. No, that didn't work either. Oh, that kind of did something. Invert. Waiting for image. While we wait, let's go back and read. All right, so add an image texture bake or use it directly in the map socket if scatter supports texture nodes. Yeah, it does. Assign a relatively density map. In your Octane scatter object settings, set distribution, relative density map, and plug the vertex division texture there. In distribution, in your Octane scatter settings, set distribution to relative density map. Yeah, I've already did that. Well, this is something different. It's not showing up. Set distribution to Relative, random. Hang on, what did it say? Set it to what? Set it to what? In distribution, set it to relative distance map and plug in the vertex driven texture there. Optional, bake from the curly map. If you really want a curl noise effect, first generate the grayscale texture either by baking it procedurally noise into an image or image curl specify. Okay, whatever. Like, I know you can do this. It's just a basic thing. It's nothing crazy. It's just I don't know how to set it up. That's what it is. So distribution on surface, random instance by relative areas. Disable. Why does it keep saying disable now? Disable on particles. No, disable on hair. No, we want to disable on surface. All right, there's one instance per vertex, right? So that's gonna bypass this because actually did that? It did space it out a little bit. Let's put this back here. And let's put this back into here. Let's invert that. Nope. Let's bring that back. Nope. That's one per instance. Evenly spaced instance on the edge. One instance per polygon. Random instance by relative area. Random instance by relatively density. Disable. I feel like that's like doing something, but I don't. That does feel closer, huh? That feels like it's right. That does too. That does. Actually, it might be right, right? No, because you would think it would start getting more populated right where it was at, but there it's not. Man, guys, I'm about to just give up on this and just do a mask. At least the vertex one worked. Like, what the hell, man? I don't understand. What options do we have up here? And even if I do like I said, like a procedural noise texture, like you need to bake it, which I know that. That's like the same with the displacement, right? Let me go 50 on the con. Oh no, I don't need to bake it. What the hell's up with the camera? All right, that worked. I added a procedural noise texture in there, and that's working. Right? Look at that. That's actually working. So, but this is producing a black and white value. So I think I need to convert that vertex data into black and white data because this is working. Right? That's totally working. Okay, that's actually really good to know. I might just end up just using that noise, but still, like I want to paint. So again, if I wanted to paint it, it just probably would be easier to just paint it in using vertex paint. Or texture paint with the black and white mask. Man, I think I'm done for today. I mean, man, that sucks. So, like, I got the weight paint, I got the vertex one to work. Like, let me go back to what we had before. Okay, here's our test paint. I'm just gonna call it test paint. Here was our test paint mode. And that worked. And then why we're not seeing that is because we got the scattering system on here. We disable the scattering system. There it is. Boom. That works. That is a grayscale vertex. That was a weight paint mode. And it works perfectly fine there. So that lets me know that tells me that Octane is reading the data. It's just when we get to the scattering system, something is changing. Because here, it's reading the data. That's weight paint, and there it is. Right? And if I solo that, there it is. That's exactly what that's it. And it's basically converting it to a black and white data. That's what it's basically doing because there it is. Now, but the minute I activate that what settings are we on this too? We're at here it says color vertex color. Convert attributes. Generic domain vertex group color. Vertex generic vertex group. I don't know what that is. But this here, we are also set to vertex color, right? Maybe let's change it to this. Because it still works here like that, right? Now let's come back and activate. Oh man, it's already running out of time. Let's come back and activate our scattering system. There's our scattering system. And then if we come back to our scatter, scat, there's our scattering system, right? And this, what were we using on the other one? We were using a vertex color. We were using just a straight vertex color. Again, I plug this into the density map. Nothing shows up. But let's come back down. Let's go back up. And one more time here, let's change these, convert. I got it there. Color definitely not working. Color does nothing. Convert to this BYT color. Nothing changes. So let's go to this color. Well, that's the same thing. I'm switching it, just different look. Yeah, it's the same thing. Generic. Vertex group, convert. Nope. Generic. Don't. Vertex. Data type, vector. Let's go data type color. Convert. Nothing. Let's go back. Convert attributes. Data type vector. No, I said color. Did I not say color? Convert to color. It doesn't do it. It switches it to vertex. Alright, let's come back to color. Let's go to float. Nope. It switched it back to vector, so it's like, no, I don't want that. Okay, I got you. I don't know, guys. Ah! That sucks. It doesn't suck, but I mean, I learned what works and what, so far, basically what doesn't work. Did I have the right name in the group, maybe? All right, I still want to be able to. What's the simplest way? Okay, let's back up and break it down to the basics again. Let's break it down to the basics again. I know it works on this noise texture, and this noise texture, if I plug that into there, boop, it works. This noise texture is generating a black and white mask. So, worst case scenario would be to, worst case scenario, let me just make another plane so I don't have to keep switching over. Scale this plane up like that, G exit over. Worst case scenario, come over here, we're gonna say mask. Right, and then I'm gonna come in here, and then I'm gonna delete this. I'm gonna add in my preset. I'm gonna add in a preset that already has an image in there. There we go. It's all set to go. I'm gonna hit new. I'm gonna call it mask. Right, and then I'm gonna hit new, and then I'm gonna hit vertex paint or viewport paint. Okay, boom, there it is. It's set up for me. I'm gonna hit it one more time just to make sure. It's set up for me to paint. Go to texture paint, just paint. And if I want to paint in real time, just turn that off, and I should be able to paint in real time. There's our circle, right? Matter of fact, I want to undo all that. And I just want to go boop, boop, boom. Okay, there's our mask. We made a mask. All right, now I want to go back and get out of the paint mode, go back to object mode, fire up the render. I want that to affect this. I'm going to come back onto our other plane here. I'm going to add in a RGB. Actually, I'm going to add in a grayscale image node because we know black and white values work. Grayscale image node, bake texture. Get this junk out of here. I don't need that anymore. Get that out of here. All right, I'm going to take this. I'm going to load up the mask. There it is. Plug that into density, and you should work. Boom. There it is. I'm done. The vertex paint is not going to work. I don't know. There's something I'm missing. My next question is, can we get that gradient fall off with the black and white, which we should be able to, right? It shouldn't be no different. So if I come in here, and for example, we go back to, turn that off, and go back to object, texture paint. Is there a airbrush? Let's kind of make it like, oops. Oops, undo. Actually, let's just do this. Let's cover this up. All right, and then let's go ahead, press X, and like, right, and then let's even do this. Like, I'm gonna go down even lighter. Actually, no, that's not lighter. That was smaller. Strength. F. strength. Right, and even lower. And then even zero out. Right, okay. Now, if we come back to object mode, turn this back on, does that affect it? Yes, it does. We look, it's a little bit lighter and it's a little bit not as heavy. So that's it. If I want to paint, just use a black and white mask. Keep it simple. Keep it simple, stupid. All right. So again, we learned something. Let me go hard on this. Let's go like 100,000. Okay. And let's see what else this can do. What happens if we plug this into density map? Let's unplug it from there. Relative density map. Seems like it's still pretty heavy, huh? Unhook that. Relative density map versus curling map. That seems like that it has more of the gradient fall off. What if we plug it into both? Huh, interesting. Now, for the sake of this really quick, let's take this cube, shift duplicate it, duplicate the material. Let's change this to green, and let's go one more, shift duplicate, change this, and change this to red. So we got 3 cubes. Let's go back to our plane, and let's add in, get that out of the way. Let's add another, shift duplicate, bring this into scatter 2. We're going to call this cube 1, right? There it is. And shift duplicate, close this into 3, change this to cube 2. There it is. Okay, so we got a bunch of red and black cubes. Now, how does this mask affect selecting objects? Object selection. I don't see it doing anything differently. I'm going to go back to curling map. I like that. Object selection. Oh, but hang on, it's still, let's go to selection map. Oh, okay, check that out. Check that out. So the gradient fall off is affecting what's being selected. Okay, check this out. Can we come over here and can I just paint on this in real time over here, right? What if we come over here? We're not, oh, because we don't have anything. Okay, look, the hottest, oh my goodness, that's very powerful. X, F. I go 100%. All right. Okay, I want to play with this a little bit more. I got to eat. But check this out. This is what I want to do now. Now, all right. Let me just hang on. All right, this is interesting. Now, what I'm gonna do is replace these cubes for a moment here. Let's first of all, let me reset my mask. All right, let's just reset my mask. See what that looks like. Everything should be gone. Nice. Okay. Now let's replace our cubes. Let's replace our cubes. Let me jump out of this texture paint mode. Let's come over into shading. Let me go into my assets here. I want to go to Octane Grass. And what we want to do is I want to bring in this dead grass. And then I want to bring in like Actually, hang on. I don't want that dead grass. I want to do something more, a little bit more uniform. Let's go like this grass to this grass to a more taller grass. This one's 20. This one's 30 to a more taller grass. We got 3 different grasses, right? Let's turn on the render, make sure they're working. Okay, they all work. All right, good. Now, these cubes, let's just get those out of the way. I probably shouldn't have deleted that. Undo that. Let's just grab them and just go GX, move them out the way there. Okay, good. So we've got 3 grasses. Let's click back on our plane and let's just replace these 3 grasses. I'm gonna kind of go from small to medium to highest, right? Kind of something like that. And let's actually just go GX so I can visually see what I'm gonna do here. I'm gonna go GX. I'm gonna do something like this. All right, back on our plane. Now, number 1, I'm going to grab the small guy. Number 2, we're going to grab the next guy. And then number 3, we're going to grab this last guy. All right, so we've got 3 different types of grasses connected to it. And then let's jump back here. And then I'm going to go and grab in my paint mode, texture paint. And let's go flip that. I'm going to go just bring that down a little bit and just go. Oh, we're not on the right layer to paint. Okay, sorry. Hang on. I think I'm not on the right layer. Yeah, pen. There we go. All right. What was the shortcut? Tab? What was the shortcut for that? Shift tab or tab? I forgot the shortcut to open that panel menu. Shift S? Shift C? Shift Q? Shift A? No. Shift E? Shift, I don't know what the hell it was. Control S? Nope. What's the main menu? Whatever. Let's go to texture paint mode. Just paint that streak there. And let's see what that did over here. Let's go to our plane here. Let's jump out of texture paint mode. Let's go back to our texture plane here, and the scale is very small on these guys. Let's go to orientation. Orientation probably front, and then the scale transformation is going to probably be way too small. Yeah. Let's set that back to 1. Woo, and that's huge. And that's because we were dealing with 100,000 plus. So let's also bring those numbers back down to like 1,000. Okay, there we go. Now let's come back to our scale. Let me actually set this back to 0 for now. Scale. Just bring that down to something like that for a moment. All right, that's kind of like what our grass is doing. And then scale, I want to do random. Minimum scale, 0.2. Maximum scale to there, or maybe like there. And let's actually just take this back to maybe like 0.3. Actually, let's go 1 to 1. How was it back to 1? 1 to 1. All right, and then let's just bring this down. No, I don't know exactly how this works yet. All right, and then rotation. So if we turn that, that kind of turns them back that way. We do this, that makes them left and right rotation, which we probably kind of just want to leave that 0. And then this does that way rotation. And this does on a fixed axis. I think they're all kind of, I don't know what that means. Fixed. No. Fixed on an independent axis. Fixed on a coupled axis. I'll have to look at that later. Fill out which one is that, which one's right. All right, but that's already a way easier way to scatter. So it does look like I want to maybe, let me flip it, because it seems like, let me go back to the scatter here. All right, we're having lunch on the stream. That's how I roll. I don't want to stop. Let's just keep going. Again, I'm also documenting this stuff so I can figure out. I use these videos to come back and figure out. It's like, it's I'm note taking, but I'm note taking live. Because I forget all this. I will forget all this. So, let's go ahead and flip these. I think I want to change these around. For example, move this one to here. All right, those are the little guys, right? Those are the little guys. These are the big guys. They're in the middle, kind of heavy and thick. Then these are the medium guys, right? Right? Yep. And then these are the little guys. Interesting. But this gives you mad options. See, yeah, the big ones are on the outside. I'm trying to figure out, okay, what's the outside and what's the inside? This is, right now, since we only have one in there, it's not doing the selection random. All right, so let me go back and see which is which. This is the big guys. All right, these are the big ones. And I want the big ones to be in the middle. Then, these are the bushy ones. And they're kind of also in the middle, but on the outer edge. That's in slot 2. So, this seems like the middle is slot 1. Slot 2 is the next outer edge. And then slot 3 is the far edge. I probably could have used the cubes to really find out where was what. And that should be but it does seem like they cancel out each other out a little bit, right? It seems like they're canceling each other out a little bit. Because the little guys seem like they canceled out the bigger guys. Relative, okay, curling map. I want to see what this still, what's this relatively density map. Oh, look at the different results there. See the difference? Huge difference. using the relative density map versus the curling map, which kind of like just keeps like its own, like it keeps these little guys space and keeps them off of them. But this density map just like boom. I'm going to use this same map. Let's see what it does to the scale. Use map. Scale map. Oh, translation map. I'm on the wrong one. Scale map. And that did that same thing. They kind of like, it used it like the low grass is on the outside and it's building up into the middle. What if we add some rocks in there? Let's change it up. Let's go into these assets here. It's got some rocks. Right? And those rocks are broken. They're actually not broken. Check it out. Because this is an old asset that was on, again, I told you this problem earlier. It was an older asset used on a different version of Octane. So it kind of just grays it out. Just come here and go to all. And there, it switches it back. There's multiple materials on this rocks probably. Yep, there's different materials, and they're all going to probably be the same situation. See, because I have this other material connected. The cycles material is still connected. Just go to all. And if that still doesn't work, then you need to take one of these away. See, because this one's lit, so this is the active. This is not the active. So I just go ahead and, you could just change this to cycles, and now it works, right? So this material is really ready for Octane and cycles easily. And then again, switch to cycles. All right, good. And then the Corella correction nodes have been changed a little bit, so these are off. So I'm just going to reset the default values on that. On these color corrections, reset the default value and reset the default value. There we go. There's our rock assets back to normal. All right. So I'm just going to replace this one of these lower grasses with the rocks. So I think it was 1, 2, 3 middle, next level outer. So if I mute this, man, even muting that just totally changes things around. Look at that. Let's change this to the rocks. Look at that, guys. That's actually pretty cool. That's actually pretty cool. And again, that was just, once we had what we wanted, now I can come in here and just paint. Click on this paint. I can come back in here and paint. Click on this, right? And then we just go to texture paint mode. I'm going to go bring this brush down a little bit more. Maybe even lighten the brush up a little bit. And just kind of like Just play a little bit. And look what that's doing. Like we're painting like a rock path. And then when it gets heavy, I did lower the, it's actually lowered down to like 0.2. And let's go to something smaller, like kind of like whoop, 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 whoop. And that's just painting these little solo little things here. It's not really doing too much. Then we go to 100%. Man, that's really cool. Now, it's easily what you would do now, like say, like, because again, whenever time we're using a scattering system, it makes the underlayer transparent. So all we would do is, let me just quickly stop this for a moment. Grab this plane, shift duplicate it, right? And turn off the scattering. Take off the scattering system. Come into your data, turn off scattering, turn all that off. Give it a new material. I'm gonna go into, oh, we got some materials right here, right? Material. Actually, I think these are cycles materials, but we'll figure that out real fast. We'll go ground material, drag that on there. You didn't do it? Did you not do it? Oh, it probably did it on the other one. Yeah, I did it on the wrong one. No, we don't want that. Undo what we just did. So this one should still have Octane material. This one still has a ground 10 on it. Nope, I don't want that either. This was scat. Yeah, that's a cycles material. No, I don't want that. Turn that off. No, I don't want that either. Come in here, go to scat. There's our scattering system. Come back to this plane here. And where's that ground material? Ground 10 material. Here it is. I'm just going to grab this, plug this into here. And then I'm just going to come over here, convert to material. Boom. See, this automatically changes it to cycles. And something's still connected here. That's right here. That's already set to Eevee. So they're both ready. And this is set to all. So technically this material will work in Eevee, Octane, and cycles. And now I should be able to turn it on because this sets to all. Once it sets to all, it's automatically going to save it as an Octane material. Jeez, I gotta get ready to go. And there we go. Right? Check that out. That's so cool. Add this color correction node back in here. Change that to 100. Gamma down or gamma up. Gamma up a little bit to match these rocks colors so that blends a little bit better. That blends a little bit better. Give me a little bit more gamma on that. Right? Does this have a displacement on it? Nope, it just has a normal. The normal is set to, this should be set to 1. This should be 2.2, right? That's okay. Good, good, good. And there it is, dude. Those rocks are looking a little big. So, again, to scale the rocks down, we would just literally go to the rock asset because this is all sharing one scattering system, right? So if we change the scattering size, it's going to change everything. In this case, we just want to lower the rocks, tab into edit mode, select all, scale that down. Like that, boom, there it is, tab out. And boom, that is super awesome. I'm gonna quickly make a thumbnail for this stream. We didn't get to work on the main render, but I learned a lot again about this system. Let's come in here, change the HDRI to like a nature one or something. Go to HDRI, outside. Let's do that one, that looks great. Open that up, right? And then let's match that down here for our backdrop. come in here, force EXR, right? And then just so whenever I change it, the rotation, it connects with it. Let's drag this out and plug this one into here. Boop. Like that. Eat some more of my lunch. Mm-hmm. That's super cool. Our plane here, our mask, we don't need to see that. We can just go ahead and hide that out of the render. I'm actually going to make dizziness visible in the render. Turn that on. Getting a lot of repetitiveness from those main middle flowers there. Not really liking that. Can we scale this up? Yes, we can. Actually, that scales everything up. What have we scale up and apply scale? What happens? Do we break it? We break it. Turn the render off, turn it back on. Yeah, we pretty much broke everything. So we don't want to do that. Undo that. Undo that. So don't scale your plane up after you've done that. It's still broken, right? Undo, undo, undo. Yeah. Camera. Real lens. Are we using a real lens? I think we are. Field 50 mil. Let's go to 85. Select that. Select that. Right, we're good. Camera's active. Actually, I'm going to disconnect that. Control Shift redo. I guess we're not having Dennis in the shot. Because I don't want to show the background. So we'll kind of do something like that. Pop out of there. That's fine. Let's quickly jump back over here. So Octane's scattering system is pretty intense. Like, I mean, it's not no Graswall, you know, but hey, he can do some pretty intense stuff with maps. It's basically like those maps are like really drives the scattering system to work. That density map, making that density map and just adding I added literally 3 assets, and based off that density map, that really gets a good natural random mixture of things. So back on our other scene over there, like I I don't know. That scene is a big mess because I just didn't optimize as I was building. What am I doing? I'm supposed to be adding a light in here. Let's just add in a directional sunlight. This is our sunlight in Octane. All right. Directional light. Kill that. Go back to emission. Go to black body. Oh, why are you doing that? Black body emission. So the vertex coloring thing, kind of like I couldn't get it to work, but it's basically as long as you make a black and white value mask, it seems like ultimately it's gonna take the color vertex and make it a black and white mask anyways. So you're better off just doing a black and white texture mask because for one, the workflow is easier, and then you can just literally plug that map in and boom, you're ready to go. Right? 6500. Let's go a little bit warmer. 4500. Right? And power. Let's come into in Octane here. Load something a little bit brighter. And can we rotate this up? GZ. Rotate on the X. Kind of something like that. Rotate on the Z. Yeah, there we go. I want to get some shadows kind of playing on the ground here. And then let's come in here. Directional. What can I use? I forgot to light sample spread, I think, was it? Spread angle. That was more diffuse. I think this was more hard edge. I gotta do some research about this whole Octane blender. What's this object data? I need to do some object data nodes research. That's what I need to do. So there's my camera. Rotate Z. That's aiming at the camera, so the shadow should be coming at the camera. There's my shadows on the side there. I can see them. I hardly ever use this directional light too often, so it's kind of a new thing for me. I like that. That's kind of fine. I would like to get some. Like, why is it such a? It's a little weird to try to select the plane though. Once you have a scattering system on it, like I noticed, like see, like I'm trying to click on the plane, like it's kind of a pain, which I noticed once the scattering system's on. That's kind of interesting. Let's go back to. I think the rotation. Also, let's just plug that map into the rotation too. Let's plug that into rotation map and select that to map. So this is for the corresponding down map is fixed map, scale map, translation map, and that means up here is the, now it's using the map data for rotation, which I don't know how much of that is really doing something. Versus just leaving it. Turn that back to this. And turn this. That looks a little more random, I think. No, that looks like it's laying down. Fixed. No, fixed we definitely don't want fixed. What happens if we crank up the incidence more? Let's go ×2. Dude, I gotta stop playing. I gotta go to work. Make sure you update the renderer and you do that. I still have to make my lunch, dude. That sucks. I'm running out of time. That looks way too much. I think it was better at 100. At 1000. All right. And then what I want to do for this thumbnail is quickly, I'm addicted to the compositor in Octane now. I'm not lying. We want to see the results of the Octane compositor. We come over here, go to AOVs. That's turned on. Here we got that. Man, I gotta set that default scene up where my denoiser is already set up, so I don't have to keep doing this. Layer, group, plug that back into there. That's going down, which is kind of wonky there, right? Let me fix that really fast. Is that a bump map on there? That's like inverted. For that texture plane, this texture plane, I should have just used a check it out. I'm just gonna use my Quixel bridge. Why would you use anything else but, right? Quixel, shader, nomadic ground. Let me come over here to the shader thing and just dump it right in there. Boom. Turn off the render. Turn it back on. All right. But quickly, color correction node. Nope, not that. Color correction node right in there. And color correction node gamma. And the scale of that could be a little bit slower. Let's go just a little bit down. Something like that. All right. Don't have time. Don't have time. Go, compositor. Compositor. And then, well, what else I want to do? We need to add the denoiser in. Layer group. Give me 3 channels. Actually, we only need 2 channels. No, we need 3 because we're going to take the image, plug that image into the denoiser. That's going to give us a fully denoised image. Then we're going to come in here, take another render AOV, duplicate that. Then we're going to plug that into the albedo. We're going to change that to albedo denoise, duplicate that. Then we're going to come in here, plug that into the normal, and then we're going to go to denoise normal. And then once we've got that, I'm going to go ahead and switch that to balance. And that's completely set up. And then we're going to add in a opacity. Click on here. We're going to go down to compositor, opacity, adjust opacity. That gives us so we can adjust the opacity of denoised and fully noised. I'm going to bring that to like 50%. So we're just adding a little bit of denoiser in there. And then back over, that goes part over there. Then over here, we're going to add in a quick, what are we going to add in? Let's just add in a custom curve, right? Custom curve. We're just going to do a little bit of like, boop, bring that down there, right? And then maybe come up here and boop, bring that up there. Something like that, right? And then on top of that, what else do we want to do? Let's add in a little bit of post-processing. Let's add in a little bit of chromatic aberration. Right, way too much. Let's come down to something like that. Then let's go add another one. Let's add in some bloom. Come into post-processing. Let's add some bloom. Come up here. Bloom shake, crank that sucker up, and then kind of like really not too much. Bloom is not really doing too much. There's really no need for bloom in this, huh? We could go like that and then just kind of go, where does it start? Where does it finish? Kind of something maybe like that. I don't know. Don't even notice the difference. On, off. Don't need it then. Okay, and then maybe let's just add in a quick little vignette, glare, chromatic aberration, blur. Let's add in a little bit of color saturation. I like to just desaturate that just ever so slightly. Okay, boom. And then let's add one more in, and then I'm going to add in just a LUT over the top of this. Come into post-processing, opacity or display or no color, apply LUT. And then on this one here, we're just going to add in one of my LUTs. I'm going to go jump over here into my assets. Where's my assets? Type my assets. I got a LUT folder. I'm going to go ahead and jump into my Hong Kong LUT because I really got some really cool ones in there. I like number 7. There's number 7. Let's going to bring that in. And whoa, what did that do? That just killed everything. What happened there? Turn off the render, turn it back on. Oh, what the hell just happened there? I think I broke something. I guess we're not doing that. And I didn't save, so I think it's game over. Ah, dude, what happened? Did I lose the server? Nope, server's still running. Then what the heck happened there? It looks like we lost our... There's our scattering. Is the scattering still data going on here? Scattering. Let's reset that. Dude. What's going on? G. Displacement. Plane, that's still connected. All that stuff is still connected. Mask is still connected. Mask, yep, we're still using the mask. I don't know what happened. So I guess we're not making a thumbnail. Dude, that was weird. Chromatic aberration. Are we still seeing that? Oh, hang on. I'm not looking at that. That's why. There's a chromatic aberration. Well, that ends on a sad note. I probably should have saved. I haven't saved at all because this was just a quick file just to, right? We were just testing. Like, everything's gone. All of our particle stuff is gone. Distribution 1000, 0, 1000. Distribution relative map. Oh, hang on. Hang on. Something's coming back. Nope. Oh, the map got erased. Because I didn't save the map. The mask. The mask got erased. When I brought in that image file, it broke. Okay. The mask didn't get saved. It sucks. Okay. So quickly, can I fix this in like 1 minute? Yep, the mask didn't get saved. Well, I should have saved the mask. That's just another thing. That's a Blender thing. That's not an Octane thing. So again, we will make sure we select that. Come in on here. Come into texture paint mode. Texture paint mode. Let me bring that brush up a little bit. All right. Bring that brush up. Bring down that opacity. Kind of goes on the outside here. And even do something even lighter. All right. And then what I'll do is X, flip it, and then I go F, shrink it, and then I'm gonna go pew, like a path through here. Something like that. And then click back on the scattering system. I think all those other ones are not plugged in. That's plugged into density map, and this was plugged into curly map. What happened to the rest of our stuff? I don't see all of the other ones. Man, whatever. I didn't save, so it's no biggie. Yeah, that's totally not right. Density map. We had that plugged into density map. Oh, selection map. Sorry. Or did I have it just density map? Oh, I forgot how I had it, man. Whatever. Done. Just render that right now. I don't have time. We got it working. Render that. Oh, that doesn't look nothing like what I thought it was going to look like. That's junk. That's garbage. And why are the rocks like floating? Yep, whatever. I'm done. I'm out, guys. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. We're gonna play some more with this. So I'm actually happy. I'm happy with the results today. I learned a lot about the power of that density map and how to actually how to paint with the scattering. Okay. Join the free Octane community down below. I do all kinds of private live streams in there.